Welcome to this week's edition of The Lead. I'm Elizabeth BIRO. Let's get started. Curaleaf, one of the medical marijuana dispensaries in Gainesville, will begin to include edible cannabis into its product line starting in October. This is a step in the right direction for those who use cannabis to medicate but are unable to do so through inhalation. For more information, head over to WUFT.org for the full story. During the pandemic, colleges across the country have had to take quarantine precautions for potentially exposed students. The Lead's Jolina Esperto takes a look at one student's experience in off-campus isolation.
When students went home for spring break, they expected to arrive back to school as normal. That wasn't the case for University of Florida student Kate McGowan.
They isolated me and they asked me a bunch of questions about where I had been.
Kate flew to Gainesville from New York City. She was supposed to stay in this dorm behind me, but was sent to a hotel off campus to quarantine as a precautionary measure for displaying possible COVID-19 symptoms. The UF current reopening plan states that arrangements are still in place with housing and service providers for those who may contract coronavirus and need help.
I had to stay there until I got my COVID results back.
Her test results were negative, but no one knew at the time. She had to stay in the hotel for 3 days until her mom was able to drive her back home.
It was so lonely, in the hotel by myself. I was I didn't know what to do with myself. So I had work still that I had to do, even though I felt terrible.
Kate ended up returning to Gainesville. Then she contracted the coronavirus. She recovered from it in the comfort of her own apartment and says due to the pandemic, it's a school year she likely won't forget anytime soon. For The Lead, I'm Jolina Esperto.
As the state of Florida enters Phase 3, schools are beginning their reopening plans. The Lead's Clara Calavia takes a look at how Miami-Dade is handling this shift to in-person learning.
After 7 months of online learning, schools all across Miami-Dade County will begin to open their doors to in-person classes as soon as October 14th. Now, teachers and students alike are preparing for this unprecedented back-to-school season.
I love the way most of you are paying attention to.
Virtual learning has come with great challenges for us teachers. It is very hard to teach young children while they are glued to their computer for 8 hours a day, but we have pushed through and made the best of the situation.
Miami-Dade public school student Roberto Milanes is excited to be back in the school environment.
At home, it's hard to connect with the class due to not being face-to-face. So I'm excited to go back to school because it'll allow me to focus more on my academics and have more connection with my teachers.
Our school has already implemented different safety measures to prevent the spread of COVID in school grounds. We will have less children in our classrooms and, of course, wear masks at all times.
Miami-Dade schools will follow CDC and state guidelines to make sure students, teachers, and staff are safe in the school environment. For The Lead, I'm Clara Calavia.
Now let's take a look at Decision 2020, where we cover what's trending with the presidential election that's coming up in just 34 days. The first presidential debate between President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden took place on Tuesday, September 29th at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. Unlike past years, the debate only had one moderator, Chris Wallace, anchor of Fox News Sunday, to limit the number of people on stage due to the pandemic. The two had much to discuss, with the U.S. COVID-19 deaths surpassing 200,000, social unrest from police brutality, a potential Supreme Court appointment, and record-breaking wildfires on the West Coast. There are two more presidential debates set for October 15th and 22nd. The debate between Vice President Pence and Senator Kamala Harris is slated for October 7th. COVID-19 changed their routine. The SEC is set for a Fantic Fiesta, and spring break will forever remain undoped for UF students 2021. The Lead's Ashley Weinstein has more on how spring break and game days are changing under COVID-19 restrictions at the University of Florida.
Hey everyone! You may be thinking to yourself, that's a funny looking 7. That's because it's not one. UF was able to jump from 7 to 6 in the National Public School Rankings due to shrinking of class sizes as well as shrinking of student-teacher ratio from 21 to 1 to 17 to 1. Rumor has it, if you connect yourself with the right parties, you can score yourself an old top 7 banner from Fuchs himself. UF is rising quickly in the rankings, but I think we could all agree we will always hold the spot for number 1 for game days in the Swamp. Game days will look a little bit different this year, with the stadium only at 20% capacity, capping it off at 17,000 fans. But do not fret. For just $99, you can purchase a cardboard cutout of yourself, or anyone you want for that matter, so be creative with this one, to be put in the stadium. The cardboard cutouts will be seen in even rows 28 through 44, and at the end of the season, you can get it mailed to you or pick it up accordingly. As for game days, we can expect to follow UF and CDC guidelines by wearing a face mask for the entirety of the game, covering the nose and mouth. The only time this could come down is for consumption of food or drinks. Non-compliance with these rules will result in loss of ticket privileges. Unfortunately, spring break is canceled this year at the University of Florida. A meeting with the UF Faculty Senate met 2 weeks ago and said it was in best interest for the students and their safety to cancel spring break. Luckily, we'll be having an extra week of winter break, with the spring semester now starting January 11th instead of the 5th to account for the 6 extra days that we usually have during spring break. I guess I'll have to get extra time in poolside now. So, whatever your spring break or game day plans are, make sure you're following UF and CDC guidelines. For The Lead, I'm Ashley Weinstein. Go Gators!
That's it for this week's edition of The Lead. I'm Elizabeth BIRO. Thanks for watching.